Folks, we are here to break down Noche UFC, but first, stop what you're doing. We got a giveaway to talk about that I think you're going to want to pay attention to. Now, I took some notes here to make sure that we got this all right. Okay, the link is going to be in the description. What you're going to want to do is you're going to sign up over at CloudBet using my link in the description. With that, you're going to want to use promo code HUGHES. You might be asking, why not 138MMA? Well, because you're going to use my link. This promo code here is going to get you into the giveaway. Now, let me explain this giveaway. For every $10 that you wager, you get one entry into the contest. There are no limits. With that being said, you can literally enter as often as you want with every $10 bet. With that said, the more you enter, the more you play, the more chances you have to win. Now, also, let's talk about the prizes, because it's like, well, what good's a giveaway if you don't know what the prizes are? I've got you, my friends. So, first prize, you're getting two VIP tickets to the PFL on October 3rd for the Hughes versus Nurmagomedov fight. You're also getting an invite to the Hughes after party. So whether he wins or loses, there's an after party. If he wins, obviously it's going to be a little more fun, but you get invited to that. And you get a whole package of CloudBet and PFL merchandise, including some signed Hughes gloves. So you get all that for the first prize. And like I said, every $10 wager gets you a single entry into this giveaway. Now, like I said, you can enter as many times as you like. So there is that. Now, in addition to that, we have the second prize, right? 2 general admission tickets plus the merch package. That includes the PFL and the CloudBet merch, but that's also 2 general admission tickets to the event. So also pretty sick. Now, third prize. We have a third prize. This is for anybody that didn't get the first and the second prize and still wins, right? That's going to be the merch. You're going to get the CloudBet merch, the PFL merch. Cool stuff. It's a nice little consolation prize, and, you know, it's not too bad. But that first prize is off the chain. So make sure you do this. Now, this contest runs until September 24th. September 24th. So do what you need to do. Go sign up at CloudBet using my link in the description. That's important. It's got to be my link and promo Hughes. You understand that? My link, promo Hughes. Let me hear you repeat it back to me. My link in the description of this video, promo code Hughes. Thank you, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into the fights. I appreciate you tuning in, and make sure you check out that link, like I said. We've got the rebooked welterweight Ultimate Fighter finale. Now, I'm kind of glad that this fight got pushed back a ways, because I wanted to look into this one a little bit more, because I had some biases coming off of the show, because you get to see their personalities a little bit more, and some people just annoy the heck out of you. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in this one here, we have Rodrigo Sezinando. He's taking on Daniil Donchenko. Both of these guys are 4-1 in their last 5 fights. That doesn't include any exhibitions that take place on the Ultimate Fighter, so take that into account. When we look at these guys, how they match up, right? This one is interesting because Donchenko, he's going to be probably the better striker. He's a pretty good striker, honestly. He's got good power. He's got a heavy leg kick, but his elbows in the pocket are the thing that I think really get it done for him. If you're in tight with this dude and he lands one of those elbows, he's probably putting you on your butt at least. He's a decent grappler. If he gets on top, his ground and pound's good. He's got decent takedowns, but that decent takedown defense is something he's going to really have put to the test in this fight, because he's going up against a very good grappler on the other side against Sezinando. And Sezinando is a decent striker. Basically, the grappling threat sets up the power shots, but he's super wild on the feet. The skill is, it's heavy hands, and that's what he's got, right? Solid grappler, though. Decent takedowns, but once he gets the fight to the mat, that's where he excels. Dude's got really good ability to reverse position. Whether you shoot in on him or he somehow gets on bottom, he can get right on top or reverse the position on the way to the mat. Really good top pressure, super good transitions, and he's got a good submission arsenal as well. His top pressure is that really heavy jiu-jitsu top pressure that you like to see. Now, there's different styles of top pressure. Maybe I'll break it down someday, but like that heavy, like put their weight through you and you're like, I can't believe this guy feels like he weighs this much type of top pressure. He's got it. So if he gets on top, Donchenko's in a lot of trouble. Now, the line on this, you see Donchenko's a big favorite at -232. You can get that over on CloudBet. The comeback on Sezinando is +200. And you're thinking, well, the guy with the big time grappling advantage should get the win, right? The problem is, I feel like Donchenko is going to be a good enough striker that he's going to win the striking exchanges and have just enough takedown defense to keep it on the feet for long enough to land some big shots. Now, he could lose immediately when he gets to the mat, but I think he's going to be on the feet for the bulk of a round before Sezinando can get the takedowns. So I think that's going to be tough. And I think when it comes to scorecards, it's going to be really hard to decide if we get that far anyway. So that's tricky. Now, coming off the Ultimate Fighter, Donchenko just annoyed the heck out of me on the show, and I don't know what it is. I think it's just like, I don't know if I just like have a beef with dudes that have that little like top knot on there. I don't know. It seems like every time you get one of those guys on The Ultimate Fighter, they're always super annoying. Not just in general, but just on The Ultimate Fighter. Every guy that has a top knot on The Ultimate Fighter has been really annoying. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But Donchenko, didn't really like him on The Ultimate Fighter. Thought he was annoying. But I think he wins this fight. I understand the line's wide, and I wouldn't blame you for not taking that. So, but we're going to take Donchenko for a pick. This might be a watch and see kind of moment, but I think he's going to get the Ultimate Fighter title. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one. Much-needed matchup in the women's bantamweight division. That division is at a bit of a standstill, so they need some movement there. More prospects coming in. And we have a debuting prospect at 5-0 in Alice Pereira. She's taking on Montserrat Rendon, who is 4-1 in her last 5, 6-1 on the career. Now, the debuting prospect here is a decent favorite at -173 over on CloudBet. The comeback for Rendon is +152. Now, the interesting thing about this is because debuts are tough, and there's a lot of question marks around this debut, and I will talk about that in a minute. But first, we're going to talk about Rendon. Now, Rendon has some things to like and some things to really be concerned about. One of the things is, so she's not a good striker by any means. Decent is, I'm being generous, but she has a few positives, one of which is the volume. She will throw a lot of shots. Another thing, she tucks her chin and keeps her hands up. I like those things. Those are two things that you can work with. If you're building up a prospect and they do both of these things, you've got a good start, right? Throwing volume, you need that to win a fight, and protecting your darn chin, you need that to not get knocked out. So those are two things I like. From there, it gets rough on the feet. She swings wild to get into the clinch. Okay, that's hit or miss. It could help sometimes if you can close that distance, and if that's the only way you can do it, then so be it, but it's not the best way to do it. She is willing to back up, though. She will back up because she gets pressured easily, and also, she reaches for legs. She's a kick catcher. That's what she likes to do. She likes to catch kicks and get the takedown, but by doing that, if you start reaching for these leg kicks, what happens is someone throws a question mark kick and you get kicked in the face because you're like this trying to grab the stupid leg kick that you thought was coming, and guess what? It's not coming and you're getting kicked in the face. I can see that happening here, and I'll explain more in a minute, but I can see that happening here. That's a problem. She is decent in the cage push. She has decent takedown defense. I don't think she needs to worry about that here. Decent grappler overall. I do think if she gets on top or gets the cage push going, she can win some minutes, can Rendon. I don't know how well this is going to go, and I'll tell you more because it's more of the Pereira side that makes me wonder. But yeah, a lot of me sees her getting head kicked here. On the other side, for Pereira, so she's looked like a good striker, right? She's got good combinations. The power seems to be there. She's got a nice flying knee. She can even push people up against the cage and just knee them there. Problem is, her level of competition is abysmal. It honestly should be a crime. The fights that she's having, they're putting people in there that are just like, they're not fighters. They're just random people. They went down to the grocery store and asked the lady that was bagging the groceries, like, hey, how much do we have to pay you to get in there and fight this girl? And she was like, well, I mean, I'd probably make like $5 an hour here. And then they just throw her in the cage. It's messed up. So her level of competition is abysmal. And now she's debuting in the UFC. Now there's some she's beating these these fighters like she should as a prospect. Sorry, I got a little twisted there. But like, would Rendon do any less? No, I think she would do the same to the people that Pereira was fighting. So it's kind of hard to say. The smart move would be to pass. Now this is just for entertainment. I'm not giving you any advice. Do whatever the heck you want. You should never do something solely based on what some dude on a YouTube channel says. And if that's how you live your life, you have some serious problems and probably need to check yourself into an institution and get some help, because we're just some dude on, anybody can make a YouTube channel. So this is for entertainment. Now, I'm passing. I'm going to be cracking a root beer, enjoying this fight, and trying to figure out what we do with these prospects. I'm going to take Pereira because the upside is the prospect. I know I spent a little bit of time on this one, but you guys don't know who Pereira is because you probably haven't watched the regional tape because it's not exactly great to watch. And you might have forgotten who Rendon is because it's been a while since she's fought. So that's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Debut on this card here in the 125-pound flyweight division, where Alden Coria takes on Alessandro Costa. Costa, somebody you haven't seen in a while. He's had a pretty decent layoff. Some things have kept him outside of the octagon, but he is back. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, and he takes on the debuting Coria, who is 3-1 in a no contest in his last 5 fights. And if you watched that Trujillo fight for Coria Coria won that fight. I think that was a bad decision. So take that for what it is. When we look at this matchup here, for Alden Coria, he fights exactly like you expect someone coming out of that 4-ounce Fight Club gym. Like if anybody that comes out of there has that style, it seems. At least the lower weight class guys. I don't know. The higher weight class is a little different. But anybody like 145 and down seem to have that same style. And it's very boxing heavy, pressure, volume, break guys, good takedown defense. That's what you see here. When we look at him, solid striker overall. The boxing combinations are legit. Super good head movement, really good jab, active. Either stance, works the body, counter strikes well, shoves takedowns off. When he does get taken down, he gets right back up. That's what you like to see. No like huge power shots, but enough power that it hurts when he hits you. But it's not like if he hits you, you're just gone. Like it's not quite that. But the dude has really solid boxing combinations. He'll mix in leg kicks and stuff like that as well. It's not like he only boxes, but the boxing combinations are where it's at. But exactly what you expect coming out of 4-ounce Fight Club. On the other side, Alessandro Costa. We've seen him fight plenty of times. He's fought some pretty good competition. He's won some. He's lost some. He's a pretty good fighter, right? Good striking, tons of power, especially in that overhand. He works the body well. He's got a good jab, but sometimes his volume just isn't quite there. And I do think that in this fight, if he's not landing big, heavy power shots, he's going to get out-volumed because Correa's always throwing. So there is that. But the grappling could be a difference maker, right? He's a good grappler with good takedown defense, but if he gets the fight to the mat, he's got really good ground and pound, and he's got a very slick armbar. That is his go-to submission, it seems. You can hit that armbar from multiple positions, things like that. So there's a lot to like on both sides, and the line doesn't suggest that. Minus 408 over on Cloudbet for Costa, and plus 337 for Coria. Now, I understand this is his debut, and debuts are super tough in the UFC, right in front of the bright lights, all that stuff, but we're in Texas. Homie fights out of Texas. That's going to help him a little bit, right? We saw Axel Sola make a debut in France, get the win, and, you know, he was fighting a veteran of the UFC, and he was in front of his home people, etc. I mean, not like he wasn't from Paris, but the same idea, right? So that it's a thing that can happen. I like Coria here, especially at this number. Are you kidding me? Dude's slick, and I think he's going to have more output. Could he get knocked out? Absolutely, he could. I think he's going to have the output. I think he's going to have the boxing to deal with what Costa brings. Costa's got a little bit of ring rust going on. We're going Coria. Let me know what you guys think. I know that's crazy. He's one of the bigger underdogs on the card. But that's what I saw, and that's what I like. So let me know. I'll see you in the next 5-pound matchup next. Zach Reese takes on Sedriques Dumas. Both guys are 3-2 in their last 5 fights. A lot of question marks around both of these guys. Now, when we look at him, for Dumas, decent striking, right? He's got a decent amount of power, pretty good straights at range, good head kick, but he's wide open to being countered when he's throwing his shots. That's a big problem for him that we've seen him pay for in the past. Decent grappler as well. He's got a quick guillotine. That was something that got him into the UFC. He's pretty good slams, but his takedown defense is, yeah, you know. He is a big underdog, so take that into account. He's plus 202, so I mean, with a guy with the physical abilities that Dumas has, that is, you know, that's a good number. You can get that number over on Cloudbet. On the other side, for Zach Reese, he's a good striker, good power. This guy probably hits harder than Dumas. Puts his punches and kicks together super well. He's got a good body kick. That's his best weapon. Front kick, round kick. He'll do either one to the body. Does a really good job with them. But his range control is bad. I don't know how, if you're as tall and long as a guy like Reese is, his range control is just bad. Good grappling, though. He's also got powerful slams. He's got good ground and pound, attack submissions, but he's willing to work off his back, and that's not something I like in general. So for Zach Reese, the guy starts fast. He's been able to go to decision now, but for a while there, his fights were all just right at the beginning. They're just over. But his fight IQ is something that constantly you're like, what are you doing in there, man? And when you have a guy at minus 234 over on Cloudbet, that at minus 234, you want him to have some good decision making. So that does make you nervous. But ultimately, I think he's a better fighter here. So it's tough. It's like, is the decision making going to cost Zach Reese this fight? Or the skill set going to win him this fight? Honestly, I think he wins it. I think it's the body kicks that I think are going to take out Dumas. I'm going to take Zach Reese. But by golly, why are you putting such a big number on him? It makes me nervous. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you in the next flyweight matchup here for this Noche UFC card. Jesus Aguilar takes on Luis Gurule. Gurule is 4-1 in his last 5, 3-2 for Aguilar. Now, I understand that everyone is now down on that fraud Gurule because he was a big favorite, came in and lost to Ode Osborne, who's a UFC veteran with a lot of fights in the promotion and competitive fights at a very high level. But because Gurule was a big favorite and busted a bunch of people's parlays, he's trash and a fraud and terrible. So according to the fans on the internet. So that means that all of this is null and void and he sucks. So ignore everything I say and just go with your own opinions. Now, for Luis Gurule, my opinion is he's a good striker with constant forward pressure, good kicks, good volume, good combinations, and he checks kicks well. Now, he does have a problem with big, long, rangy strikers, apparently. We found that out when he fought Ode Osborne. He had a hard time covering the distance, and he was getting hit with those long, rangy shots because Ode is a very tall, long, rangy flyweight. He doesn't have that here in Aguilar, so keep that in mind. He's a good grappler as well as Gurule. He's got a good cage push, and he's a grinder. That is where his best stuff is done in the grappling, in my opinion. Gets guys up against the cage and just grinds on them. He's got good ground and pound volume if he gets to fight to the mat. Decent takedowns. His upper body throws are probably better than his lower body takedowns. He's extremely hard to hold down. He's got really good scrambles. His pace and his cardio are absolute weapons for this man. However, we did see the chin get cracked, and he had been durable in the past. But Ode Osborne hits really hard. We saw what Osborne did to Steve Erceg in the first round in their fight. So there is some form of nuance to that, and I understand that the MMA fan base has a really hard time with nuance. So just bear with me and try to keep up. I'm trying to help you guys. Jesus Aguilar. Now, I'm sure, don't get offended. I'm not necessarily talking to you. There are just a lot of people out there with a lot of really loud opinions, and the ones that are the loudest are the dumbest. But let's talk about Jesus Aguilar. For Aguilar, decent striking. He's got good forward pressure and just wings power shots. And his power shots are pretty good. Like, I'm not saying he has a ton of power. He just wings power shots, if that makes sense. That's why I didn't list it as just power. It's power shots. If you understand, if you're following me. He's a bit wild, and he's wide open to counters at times. But this dude has one tool in his tool belt in the grappling that has pretty much built this career. This dude has come through as an underdog a lot because of this guillotine right here. If he gets around the neck of Gurule, this dude's guillotine's legit, and I'm notoriously a guillotine hater. But Aguilar's got a heck of a guillotine. He's got good sweeps and scrambles as well, and he's got a pretty good volume on his takedowns. But I tell you what, if he gets around your neck, he'll jump guillotine, he'll get you to the mat to get it. If you take him down, he'll go for it. He is a serious problem with that. Now, do I think that happens at a high percentage? No. So when you see minus 221 on the Gurule side, you can get that over at Cloud Bet. I do understand why he's a favorite and a sizable one at that. But you just kind of want to play the submission prop for Aguilar. And let me tell you something. Cloud Bet always has the best submission props. I have not seen a fight yet where the Cloud Bet prop for submission isn't better than every other book. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there has been a few. I just haven't noticed any. They have great submission props. That's just what they do. So if you are interested in the submission prop for Aguilar, and I would not blame you a bit if you are, you can get that over on Cloud Bet. It hasn't dropped yet, but I bet you it's going to be darn good. Now, when we look at Gurule, I think there's a lot more upside for him. I think the cardio and pace is going to be equal to, if not better than Aguilar's. I think it's going to be better. I think his ability to keep this fight gritty on the mat, his scrambles, his difficulty to be held down, things like that. I think he's going to be able to negate most of this. Yes, he could get his neck snatched, but I think on the feet, he's going to be better as well. I don't think the short, stubby little arms of Aguilar are going to give him the same trouble that Ode Osborne did, and I do think Gurule is the side, so he is my pick for this matchup, but you always got a little interest in that sub prop. Let me know what you guys think. I will catch you in the next fight. I hope I didn't offend anyone there, and if I did, next up, we got a big-time matchup in the women's strawweight division where Tatiana Suarez, who's 4-1 in her last 5, her only loss in the career, coming to the, I guess, former strawweight champion in Zhang Weili, who has recently relinquished her belt, vacated it to move up to flyweight. But that's the only loss for Suarez, and that's against a dominant champion. She's taken on Amanda Lemos, who 3-2 in her last 5, but, she also has that bad loss to Zhang Weili, but has also had some pretty darn good wins recently. Now, the line would indicate this fight is not close. I would argue this is a closer fight than maybe that suggests. I mean, when you look at the line over on Cloud Bet, you got plus 345 on Lemos, a perennial top contender. That's a wild number. Now, I understand because minus 418 on Suarez, you're thinking, well, I mean, this girl's only lost to the champion, this, that, and the other. But there is a gap in a certain area of this fight that we're going to talk about. So let's talk about Lemos here. First off, Lemos, if she keeps us on the feet, she is by far the better striker. This girl is a solid striker with a ton of power, Sticks the jab really well. She's got nasty counters, especially those hooks as somebody comes in. And she's got a pretty good leg kick as well. Her problem is she can get backed up and her output can be low because she'll be looking for those counter strikes. She'll be backing up, because that's sometimes when you're looking for a counter, you're backing up looking for that hook, or you're backing up and just like waiting for your moment. So that can look bad on the optics. But if she hits you, my gosh, you feel it. Like, this girl hits freaking hard. She's a pretty good grappler as well. I don't know that that's going to really equate here. If she gets on top, she's got decent control, and she's got a quick guillotine. Yeah, against Suarez, that's a tall task. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But on the feet, Lemos is a serious problem, especially for someone like Suarez, who on the feet is just kind of decent. She's got a good 1-2, and her wrestling threat will set up her hands. But she's not a striker. And if this stays on the feet, Lemos all day. Now, if this goes to the ground, which I think is very likely that it happens at least at some point in this fight, Suarez has really solid takedowns. She's got good throws and trips. She's got good body lock takedowns, traditional wrestling style. She's got the gambit of takedowns. Good takedown defense. She'll work for the chokes. She'll typically pass guard on the takedown, which kind of eliminates the problem of the guillotine. So this is pretty much negated if she is able to do that. Because in order for a guillotine to be successful, now some people are going to argue this, and there's a guy named Cody McKenzie who has a really good argument for this, but most of the time, okay, there are not a lot of absolutes in martial arts. I'd tell you more if I needed to, but I think you understand. Most of the time, if you are not fully locked in someone's guard, the guillotine is null and void. That is how that works. So I do think the fact that she passes the guard on the takedown gives her the advantage in that aspect. She does have heavy ground and pound. She's got a good cage push where she just knees the heck out of you in that cage push. It just wears on you. Suarez is the minute winner here. Suarez is absolutely the minute winner. It's just, can she do that for 15 minutes against someone who is as powerful and dangerous as Lemos? I think she can, but the line does scare the heck out of me, and I think this might just be a crack a root beer and watch this type of fight, because if Lemos knocks her out, I'm not going to be surprised. So we're going to take Tatiana Suarez as the pick. I think the line's wide, so we're cracking a root beer and watching this one for funsies. Let me know what you think. I'll see you. All right, so we got an interesting one at 155 pounds, and actually Cloudbet's doing you a solid here because both these guys are listed at minus 107. Typically, when the odds are the same, it's minus 110 apiece. Cloudbet's doing you that solid. Don't forget, use the link in the description, and if you haven't checked out the gosh darn intro, guys, that makes that more valuable. So check out the intro really quick, or whatever after this video. But either way, use my link in the description if you're going to take advantage of some of the lines brought to you by Cloudbet. Now let's break this down. Claudio Puelles takes on Joaquim Silva. Now this is an interesting fight for a lot of reasons. Now for Puelles, 3-2 in his last 5, 2-3 for Silva. Like I said, both guys minus 107. So, okay, let's unpack this here. For Silva, he's going to be the better striker. And I think that's because pretty much anybody that fights Puelles is going to be the better striker. But Silva's got some hands. Dude can crack. He's got power and good counters. This is the same guy that absolutely put Arman Tsarukyan on skates and darn near won that fight. And Arman's in line for a title. Am I right? Like, the guy's up there. So Silva can hit. He can definitely hit. He's a good grappler too. Dude's got good sweeps. He's active from his back. He's got pretty good submission defense. And he's going to need it here. Because if he ends up on the ground, he's going to need it. But he's fighting Claudio Puelles, who his striking isn't good. It's bad. It's straight up bad. He's got bad striking. But his jiu-jitsu is legit. This guy is scary on the mat. He's very positionally sound, very smooth transitions. He's always attacking submissions, and most of them are leg locks. So he's dangerous, right? He can catch you with something that's not a submission that you often find in MMA. But he's good at them. He's really good at them. The problem is he lacks open mat takedowns. He'll basically shoot the takedown and just fall to his back if he doesn't get it. That's not going to work against Joaquim Silva. Give me Silva to get this one done. I don't understand why he's not a big favorite. I don't get it, because I think if he can keep this on the feet, he's probably sending Puelles into the shadow realm. Let's take Joaquim Silva here. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one. Got a 185-pound matchup between two guys that are typically brought in to lose. So the UFC is basically like, all right, one of you guys has to go. We can't just keep putting you on here and the fans realizing what we're going to do. So one of you needs a win to stick around, and the other one's got to go, because neither of you guys are going to win a fight against anybody else. So that's what we've got. We've got Duško Todorović, who's 1-4 in his last 5, and Jose Medina, who is 2-3 in his last 5. The only reason he got 2 wins is because those were pre-UFC. Pre-contender series as well. Okay? Yeah, this is wild. This is bottom of the barrel. Now, don't get me wrong. Let's talk about Duško. He's got some skills, but he has some stuff that's just makes it null and void because he's a decent striker with good forward pressure and good volume, but his striking defense and durability are just abysmal. This guy used to be able to take a punch. On the regional scene, he was getting wins because he could take a punch, come forward, and just break guys. He can't do that anymore. This guy's getting knocked out by anything. And that's unfortunate for Duško, but it's just the truth. The guy's been knocked out a ton, all right? When we look at his grappling, he's a decent grappler. He's got decent takedowns, good ground and pound, but his takedown defense isn't good. He's inconsistent, and he's super kill or be killed. There's a lot to dislike on the Duško side, but there's a lot to dislike on the Medina side. This guy got into the UFC because he took a beating so bad and did not go to sleep that Dana White said, you know what? We don't have enough heavy bags in the PI. Let's bring this sucker in and use him in the cage or the octagon, whatever. So that's what you get. So for Jose Medina, he has decent striking. I'm being generous. Decent boxing combinations. They're actually not bad, right? He's got decent boxing combinations. For like regional fighter, he's okay. Durable. But that's about it, right? He doesn't have much in the grappling. If he does get on top, he's got some elbows coming down. That's fine. But what are we doing here? And you're going to tell me that Duško's a minus 307 favorite against anybody? What are we doing? Over on CloudBet, you can get plus 261 on Medina. Now, I think you're insane if you're betting this fight at all because, I mean, I get the dogger pass angle, don't get me wrong, but just like, you just hate your ability. Like, you just hate your ability to function as a human being because the cortisol levels are going to be through the roof. You're going to be stressed out of your damn mind watching this thing. This is a crazy low level. This is the lowest level you're going to get in the UFC. That's all I got to say. I'm going to take Duško because he's actually a decent fighter, but he just can't take a punch, and I would not be surprised if he gets knocked out. I don't know. Stay away from this fight. Please stay away. I'm picking Duško because I have to make a pick. I swear, if you come at me in the comments and tell me I'm dumb for picking Duško because he lost, shut up. You're stupid, and your parents raised you to be an idiot, and you should be ashamed of yourself. That said, I'm sorry I got heated there. Let me know what you guys think, but please stay away from this fight. Neither of these guys should be in the UFC at this point. Well, folks, it was the last fight added to the card, but that is not indicative of how exciting this fight is going to be. This is a good fight. A couple of really good fighters at 135 pounds. Quang takes on the debuting Santiago Luna. Luna's only 6-0 in the career, but he's still a young fella. 5-0 in the last 5. That's how undefeated prospects work. He's taken on Quang, who is 3-2 in his last 5 fights, 9-2 on the career. Pretty good record, right? He had a couple of losses, short notice debut. He lost that to Chris Gutierrez. No shame there. Did get knocked out. Zhao Long got him, but after that, bounce back performance over Gaston Bolaños, where he really showed his grappling chops. Now, there is a lot to take in on this matchup here because let's start with the light side. We've seen him fight before in the UFC a few times now, 3 to be exact. So we have a little bit of information on him against some of the higher level competition in the world. Now, when we look at him, he's a good striker. He comes forward with a lot of power. He works the body really well. He's accurate and he can counter strike. There's a lot to like in the striking. He's also a pretty decent grappler. Now, his striking is his go-to, except for in the Bolaños fight. But if you're fighting a pretty much pure striker in Bolaños, taking him down just makes sense. Am I right? So he does typically only mix in takedowns as a change of pace, but we saw the back taking ability is pretty good in that Bolaños fight. I don't know how that'll translate going forward because now he's fighting guys that can grapple, but it was there. But for Lei, there's a lot to like. I think he has some skills. I think he had a better matchup before this. Now he's taking on the undefeated Luna. Now, Luna, you might not know about his background, but this dude has Olympic caliber wrestling. He is a good striker, too. The guy can fight. He comes forward, throws hands, got good combinations, tons of power. You see this guy hit? He'll get hit, eat the shot, and then punch back. And when he hits guys, their legs just give out. Like he hits them and their legs just turn to jelly. He's got serious power. He's durable. He can take a punch to give a punch. Now that could be bad for him long term, but he's still young. Only 6 pro fights. Kid can still take a punch, right? Solid grappler as well. The takedowns are there. And something I really like is he'll take the back of his opponent standing, and when he gets to the back, he just rips them to the mat from behind. It's not like a traditional takedown. He just rips them down. And then he's already in back control. You've seen him get some rear naked chokes in his career. It comes from stuff like that, just getting behind the person to just rip him to the mat. He's got a good cage push as well, and here he just mat returns people over and over. He'll let them get back up, and I don't think it's for lack of ability to hold people down. I think he lets them get back up so he can just rip them back to the mat and wear them out because he does a really good job with it. Once he starts pouring on the ground and pound, it's good. His takedown defense is solid. Honestly, I'm going to tell you now, I really feel good about Luna here. This guy, he is a real prospect. I'm taking Luna. I feel like he gets it done. And over on CloudBet, you can get him at minus 119. That's a steal. I think he's every bit going to cover that value. And maybe I'm wrong, and you can come back and tell me you told me so. But I think that's a solid price for him. I think he's a solid fighter, a solid prospect. I think it's great that the UFC got him now. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next fight. Turnaround here for Alexander Hernandez. He's fighting Carlos Diego Ferreira at 155 pounds. For Diego Ferreira, he's 2-3 in his last 5 fights, 3-2 for Hernandez. Hernandez comes in as a favorite over on CloudBet at minus 141, and plus 124 is the comeback on Ferreira. So fairly close line. When we look at this one here for Ferreira, he's a pretty good striker. He's got plenty of power and plenty of volume, and he can kind of just be there for the fight, right? He's not going to go away early. He's going to be around and continue to be a threat throughout the whole fight. Solid grappler. If this guy gets you on the mat, you're probably in some trouble. His takedowns are just decent, but once he gets the fight to the mat, he's got a really good back take. He scrambles really well. If he ends up on bottom, dude's active from his back, but has a really good get-up ability as well. On the other side, for Alexander Hernandez, his footwork's good, his forward pressure's good, and his power's good, but he doesn't always put it all together. He clearly did in the Hooper fight where he was losing until he landed a beautiful shot. Broke my heart. I was rooting for Chase Hooper there. I like Chase Hooper, and I'm notoriously a big Alexander Hernandez hater, so there is that. But he does have pretty good grappling as well. Decent takedowns. His top pressure is solid. He's got good takedown defense. Problem is inconsistency, lack of cardio. We've seen the guy fade before. His consistency is meh. He's looked better lately. I almost erased this inconsistency. I thought he lost the Hollabaugh fight. I think he got. I mean, if it's supposed to be damage first scoring, he got beat up and then landed a takedown and laid there and held on. I think that means you lose on damage, but I'm also a Hernandez hater, so take whatever I say with a little pinch of salt, okay? So there is that. When they look at the line, it makes sense. It's close, it's competitive. Dude's coming off a big win over Chase Hooper. It makes sense that he's the favorite, but he is turning around really quick. So being a big favorite would not make a lot of sense. For me, I like the underdog. Give me Diego Ferreira to get this one done. I think he's a better grappler, and I think he's a slightly better striker, and he's got that veteran savvy, and I think he can do it. But I've been proven wrong by Hernandez many a time, including his last fight. So I'm taking Carlos Diego Ferreira to get it done, but let me know what you guys think. I could be swayed. I probably can't. I'm just a hater. But let me know. We got a matchup at 185 pounds. Kelvin Gastelum takes on Dustin Stoltzfus. Both guys are 2-3 in their last 5 fights. So this makes sense to kind of put these two together and see who's going to kind of keep their spot, right? For Stoltzfus, decent striking, right? He's got decent power, pretty good kicks, good volume, but it's the striking defense that has caused him problems. He enters the pocket with his hands down, and honestly, when he loses, that's why. Right? That's been it. That's been his problem. He's a good grappler, though. Decent takedowns, pretty good slams. Obviously, that's what got him into the UFC in the first place. He'll attack submissions really well, and he's got pretty good sweeps. So there is that. But he's fighting Kelvin Gastelum, who just, man, like, I used to like this guy, but like the dude just can't make weight and doesn't seem to care about it, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. And I feel like it does for a lot of people. You want to like the guy because you liked him before, but man, he just doesn't seem to care. So it drives me nuts. So for Kelvin Gastelum, he has some skill, right? He's clearly still has the striking. He's good. He's got good power, good movement, good volume, good durability. He's a tough guy to fight. In fact, he was doing really good against Joe Pyfer. I guess both guys fought Joe Pyfer. Technically, Stoltzfus has a win over him, but you know that the MMA math doesn't always math out right there. So for Gastelum's grappling, I think he's good there as well. He's got good top control. If he gets on top, I do think he can hold it if he needs to. He's got good takedown defense in space. So in space, I think Stoltzfus is going to have struggled to get the takedowns. But up against the cage, that is where Gastelum has struggled with takedown defense. I don't know that Stoltzfus can get Gastelum up against the cage. That's going to be the dictating factor on whether Stoltzfus can win minutes in this fight or not. So for me, when we look at the line, minus 254 for Gastelum on CloudBet, plus 218 for Stoltzfus, I get it, right? It makes a lot of sense. Gastelum's fought the better competition. He shows that he's still pretty much got it. Like his durability's still there. He still has, you know, the skills, the volume, the output. Stoltzfus is a guy that just can crumble at any moment. So I understand it. I'm going to take Gastelum here. But, you know, Stoltzfus is, of course, a live dog. Dude's got really good grappling abilities, and he can get it done if he does that. But I think more often than not, we get a Gastelum win here. Let me know what you guys think. 55-pound matchup here. Jared Gordon takes on Rafa Garcia. 3-2 in the last 5 for Garcia. 2-2 in a no contest for Gordon. But Gordon's record it's made up. Like, the guy's gotten ripped off. The no contests are BS. Yeah, okay. So Jared Gordon technically is 2-2 and a no contest in his last 5 fights. Now, when we look at this matchup here, it's an interesting one because Jared Gordon is never usually a big favorite, right? It's rare that we see him as a big favorite. Cloudbit's got him at minus 275 and the comeback for Garcia is plus 235. Now, we're going to see how that makes sense or doesn't as we break this fight down. But it's interesting to see some of the like older dogs, you know what I mean? The old veterans like Gastelum, Gordon, as pretty big favorites on this card. When we look at Garcia's skill set, he's got pretty good striking, right? He's durable, you know that. He works the body well, and he's got power. He's grappling. He's a good wrestler. He's got good takedowns and good mat returns, and he's going to do that over and over again as the fight goes on in most fights, if he can, especially if he can get you up against the cage and just keep mat returning you. But he slows down, and I think it's because he does a lot of this that takes a lot of energy out of him, and he'll slow down. Jared Gordon, on the other hand, he ain't slowing down. But good striker, good forward pressure, nice lead hook. That's his best weapon by far. He changes levels on it, goes to the body, goes to the head, etc. Good counter striking, good volume in his last fight. Dude showed that he's got power all of a sudden. That wasn't there before, but now he's got some knockout power, so that's a new tool in the box for Gordon. Good grappler, cage push, control. That's ideally, I mean, what he does on the inverse of Garcia. That's kind of how he should have beaten Paddy Pimblett. Most people thought so, but either way. Good top pressure as well. Yeah, it makes sense Gordon's a favorite. But this right here, with how he somehow ends up not getting what he deserves in a lot of fights, makes you worry about that as a big favorite. It's not that the skill set isn't there. Gordon should win this fight on skill and merit and all that good stuff, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. I'm going to take him. I think Jared Gordon gets it done. I think Rafael Garcia is pretty good, and I think he's going to probably win the first round, whereas Gordon takes over in rounds 2 and 3. That is my opinion, but we're going to take Gordon. We'll give you a 29-28 decision is my most likely outcome. But let me know what you guys think. We've got a really fun matchup here at 135 pounds. It's a short notice matchup, but I think this is better than the original matchup because we have Rob Font, who was originally going to take on Raul Rosas Jr., and honestly, I thought Rob Font was going to put the beating on Rosas when Rosas could not get him finished in the first, and Font takes over and just boxes his face in for rounds 2 and 3. So I was big on Font there. However, this is a different matchup, and it deserves a different breakdown. Am I right? Rob Font is the favorite over on Cloudbet at minus 149. The comeback for Martinez is plus 131. I think that's, they're giving a lot of flowers to Martinez because he's fighting, they were both scheduled for this card against different opponents. But either way, here we are. This is a big step up for Martinez, but he's shown to be the goods. He's 12-1, 5-0 in his last 5. He's taken on Font, who is 22-8 with 3-2 in his last 5. He's fought the much better level of competition, and that's not a knock on Martinez. It's just Font's been here for a while, right? He's got 30 professional fights. He's been in the UFC for quite some time. So when we look at this matchup, it's a really good matchup with a lot of highlights on the positive side for both guys. I look at David Martinez, and I think this guy is a solid striker. He has a really good ability just to keep moving on the outside, just constant shuffling, constant movement, and he does really good with his kicks. He's got a good variety of kicks, and he'll kick to all different levels, and he does that from range while he's moving. He'll move, he'll kick, and just keep moving. And for guys like Font, who are traditionally just boxing-style strikers, it can be hard to track down somebody moving this much, and can be hard to get in the pocket or get into boxing range with them. So Font's going to have to do that here in order to have a lot of success because, like I said, for Martinez, he's just constantly moving. He's accurate. He picks his shots really well. And when he does finally step into exchange, it's a flurry. He steps in, bop, 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 bop with the flurry, and then gets himself back out there, gets on that bicycle again, and starts moving around. So there's a lot to like. Counter strikes well as people come in, and he's got decent power as well. So when somebody steps in, they're tired of chasing this dude around. They say, screw it, I'm going in there no matter what. That's when he counter strikes him. He's got good enough power that he can make you regret that. Durable as well. He's got that Mexican chin that people talk about all the time. It's a real thing. Dude's got a good chin. It's kind of a thing. So either way, David Martinez, there's a lot to like at distance striking here. But if he gets into boxing range with Font, that could be a problem. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the grappling of David Martinez. Now, good grappler overall. Good takedown defense. He uses his movement, and he then stuffs the takedown while moving away. It's a good way to do that for a guy that moves like he does. He's got good scrambles, and he can mix in takedowns as a change of pace. Now, David Martinez is a smart fellow, right? He's a doctor outside of MMA. So the dude clearly can read, and he can take notes, and he can look at something and say, hey, I think that makes sense. You assume, right? Based on his credentialed academics, the guy's probably not stupid. And if he looks at a lot of the fights where Rob Font has been beaten most clearly, it's from guys that have taken down Rob Font and held him down. Corey Sandhagen being a great example, who is currently fighting for the title next. So that's a thing, because the levels of fights are like, that's an interesting little tidbit, because Corey Sandhagen is probably better than David Martinez. We don't know because we haven't seen David Martinez fight at the level of opponent that Corey Sandhagen has, but you can assume that Corey Sandhagen is one of the best fighters on the planet in this division. So you know what I mean. You can infer a little bit, but you can still take a page out of the book of Sandhagen, who used that to great success against Rob Font. Now, does Martinez have the skill to do that? That we don't know. We haven't seen him try to hold down somebody as good as Font. There's a lot of question marks there. But what I do know is that his cardio is going to hold up. We've never seen Martinez fade. We've never seen him slow down. His cardio has been there the whole time for every single fight. He never seems to slow down. So that is one thing that we do know. So if he does mix in the takedowns and he has to do it over and over again, I assume the cardio is going to be there. He's constantly circling on the bike. We know the cardio is going to be there. Now, on the other side for Rob Font, dude's a solid striker. And if he gets into boxing range, he is definitely winning the exchanges, because dude has really good volume. He's accurate. He's got good footwork and fast hands. But this is all in the pocket. He can fight out of either stance, and he's got a nasty jab with no tell, and he'll change that tempo on it all the time. It sets up his other stuff. It sets up his 1-4. It sets up his 1-6. Obviously, the 1-2. We all know about the 1-2. But the 1-4 and the 1-6, 4 being the rear hook, 6 being the rear uppercut, those type of things are combinations that you don't see a ton in MMA, because, and in boxing even, to be honest. Like, it's not like super common, but it's more common in boxing than in MMA. But the 1-4 and the 1-6 are strikes that you don't get a lot of in MMA. You see a lot of 1-2s. You don't see a lot of 1-4 and 1-6. That being said, I think Font, once he gets in the pocket, is going to have a lot of success. It's just, can he get into the pocket, and can he do it consistently against a guy that wants to stay at kicking range and is constantly moving? Font's going to be frustrated at first trying to close that distance. I do think that with the help he's got at TriStar, where he's been kind of reinventing his game plans and stuff, I think that's going to help him here. It's just, can he do it consistently over 3 rounds? That we don't know. That's the struggle. Boxing range, Font. Kicking range, Martinez. That's how I see that in the striking. Now, in the grappling, Font's good. Font's a good grappler. He's got really good submission defense. He's got really good ground and pound if he gets on top. But he can be taken down and he can be held down. Now, he won't just give up and stay on the ground. He'll try to get back to his feet. He just sometimes doesn't have the ability to do it. It's not like he's just laying there saying, oh, well, I got taken down. I guess I'll just sit and wait for the end of the round. He's not doing that. No. But he has struggled to get back up to his feet in the past. This is a compelling matchup and a really close matchup. I understand why the odds are relatively close, right? I feel like Font is going to have a hard time tracking down Martinez early. So with that, I think Martinez wins the first round at a high clip. But I think by the 3rd round, Font can track down Martinez on the feet. It's just whether or not in the 3rd round you start seeing Martinez start mixing in those takedowns and frustrating Font every time he starts to close that distance. I think we're going to see 1st round Martinez, 2nd round probably Font, but he takes over partway through, and in the 3rd round it's going to come down to whether or not Martinez is getting the takedowns or if Font's putting the pressure on and landing the boxing combinations. I think it's super close. Super intriguing fight. I know I spent a lot of time on this one. I'm going to go Martinez. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Martinez. I want to believe in the prospect in this one. I don't know for sure. I don't feel good about it. Like I said, I was big on Font over his Rosas matchup. I just dropped my marker. I think Martinez is going to be tricky enough at distance to make Font lose that 1st round, and I will say that if he gets to start a round up, that's a good thing for him. So we're taking Martinez. Let me know what you guys think. The main event, folks. If you're having a good time, do me a solid and hit that like button. If it just shows your support for the channel, it doesn't cost you anything, and I appreciate it. But let's talk about this main event. It's a 145-pound matchup with some serious title implications here. Because for one side, yeah, Diego Lopes, he did fight for the title and did not win, but he made a decent account of himself, right? It was a good fight. He's, showed that he can go the distance with the champion. For John Silva, the guy's looked great in the UFC. Hasn't lost yet. So there is that. So he's likely putting himself in the title picture with a win. For Lopes, it puts himself maybe a win away, if that makes sense. When we look at this matchup, 4-1 in the last 5 for Lopes. His only loss in the last 5, obviously, was to the champion. For Silva, 5-0. That makes sense. He hasn't lost in the UFC. You got it. But let's break this down. Now, interestingly enough, John Silva Cloudbet's got him in a minus 249 favorite. Money's coming in on the Diego Lopes side at plus 214. And you know why that is? It's because everybody now hates the Fighting Nerds after they got fraud checked over at UFC Paris. And you notice that if you're just listening, the air quotes with my fingers on fraud checked, because I don't think you guys understand what a fraud is, the people that constantly throw that term around. But either way, losing in the main event of a UFC event is usually, doesn't mean you're a fraud. Same with the co-main event. So there is that. But either way, I do think that there is a different understanding of what that word means. But for John Silva, because his team has lost 2 fights in their last 2 fights, people are kind of down on him. And money's coming in and showing that on the line movement, which is really interesting because he was a bigger favorite just a couple days ago. And that started crashing almost immediately after the Paris card. But when we look at them skill for skill, that's what we're going to talk about. John Silva, solid striker, good forward pressure, and he kind of does this thing where he plays with his opponents, is laughy, smiley, and tries to get his opponents guard down with that. And I kind of like and dislike that for him because at some point it's got to cost him, right? I mean, you can't do that forever and just keep getting away with it, because at some point somebody's not going to slap your hand and they're going to punch you in the face. But it's worked so far. So either way, he's got stupid power. When this dude hits you, it's unreal. It's unreal. This guy, for a 145-pound man, his punches are deadly. He's accurate. He's got a super quick head kick. He's very light on the toes, which makes it so he can kind of get out of the way, as well as the head movement that he has. He has those abilities to get out of the way when he is kind of goofing around and you're swinging at him. But he does keep his hands low, which does make you nervous. So, but he's playing around. But when he hits, my gosh, does this guy hit? It's unreal. We haven't seen him in extended grappling exchanges. We haven't. Not at the UFC level, not pre-UFC. There wasn't much. He's quick on the front chokes. He has that guillotine prior to the UFC, and obviously that ninja choke against Bryce Mitchell. The guy can choke your lights out pretty quick. Very, very quick. And when we have seen him taken down, he's fast to get back to his feet. So that's interesting. But if anybody can take advantage of the grappling, it's probably a guy like Diego Lopes. So that's going to be an interesting wrinkle. We just don't know enough about this to have a really good read on it. He's fought a lot of strikers, and the grapplers that he did fight, we didn't really get to see any extended exchanges, and I would say Lopes is probably the better grappler than all of them. So there's that. When we look at Diego Lopes, he's a good striker. He could knock out anyone. He could also knock out Silva. He's a good striker with good forward pressure and good power and good volume. He fights like a madman. He is a bit wild, but he fights like a madman. He's got good kicks. His counter hooks with either hand. If you come in and he hits you with one of those hooks, yeah, it's gonna rattle you. The dude hits hard. Either of these guys can knock each other out. Either one. Definitely. Solid grappler, though. We know that Diego Lopes is a solid grappler. He's extremely opportunistic on the mat, whether that be with the transitions or the submissions. He'll either work to advance that position in opportunistic moments or go for a submission. We saw him almost take out Movsar. We've seen him choke out plenty of darn good grapplers and whatever. We've seen him do what he needs to do on the mat, and he looks darn good. He's got a good submission arsenal. He's got good scrambles, and he's extremely active from his back. And even better, dude starts quick. If he just comes out there, doesn't play around with John Silva, and doesn't do the hand slappy thing, he just comes forward and tries to take his head off, that could throw Silva off. We don't know. We just don't know. We haven't seen that yet. But on the other side, John Silva looks, gosh darn, unbeatable. But it's tough. This is his toughest test to date. It is by far, because Diego Lopes just fought for the title and he's darn good. I wanted to see Lopes versus Yair Rodriguez because those two have real beef, and I think that would be fantastic for this Noche card. This is not a bad consolation prize, in my opinion. This is a great fight. It's a fun fight. I have a hard time picking on this one because of the unknowns on the Silva side and what we do know about Lopes being really solid. I would have loved to have seen that other matchup, but this is what we've got. I'm going to slightly lean on the Silva side here. My confidence has waned, not because of the Paris card, but because watching back some of the fights that Diego Lopes has had, he has a lot of the tools that make it tough for a guy that likes to get in the head of the opponent. Because Lopes is kind of unshakable, right? The dude doesn't, nothing rattles the dude. We've never seen the guy rattled. So there's a lot to like on the Lopes side. There's a lot to like on the Silva side. I'm going to take Silva by a little bit, but it's the main event. Guys, You don't have to bet the main events. You can enjoy them as a fan, and that's what I'm going to do. We're cracking another root beer. We're going to be like 6, 7 root beers deep by this point in the card. We're going to have a good time. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've been enjoying the content. Like the video on your way out if you haven't already. Maybe share this with your friends, and I will catch you down the road.